want the fans to have their seat. We want to score goals. We want to get momentum on our side. And then on the flip side is when we don't have the ball, we got to beat dogs.
Given away for Nys, and he's the one who knows how to make them pay. A hat trick for Edouard Nys. And do we have another North Texas contender for the Golden Boot this season? That is 4 for Nys in 2 matches, and that is a 3.
Yes! Come on! Yes! Come on! Let's go. Yeah!
And we're live as North Texas Soccer Club celebrate a big 3-1 victory, their first of the season, over Rapids 2 there at Choctaw Stadium. Congratulations to Edouard Nys. We'll talk about him in a little bit with his hat trick. But it's good to be here. It's good to welcome everyone to the Afterburn Soccer Show or podcast if you're listening to this later. I'm Nathan. You can follow me at Afterburn Soccer. And joined by 2 talking heads tonight, our buddy Jose at El Chico Carmona.
How's everybody doing?
And our buddy Colin Coove, coming from the frigid north is what I hear at Mr. Coove.
Yeah. Yes, sir. It's good old South Dakota.
All right. Got all that nice piping behind you, giving that some of that steam heat. It's kind of old school and good.
Oh yeah, we're in the good old laundry room, man, with the attic and everything, and the Airbnb. Everyone else is in the living room, and I left my laptop and everything at home, so I'm having to use the good old iPad and rip out the AirPods and everything else. So we're jerry rigging it, but we're making it work.
Well, that's good. Well, it's good to have you guys on, and it was a impactful weekend for both FC Dallas as they traveled to Los Angeles FC. I was there on site to cover the match and just get a feel for the team and the vibe a little bit, especially down in the locker room area, and speak to Coach Quill. Unfortunately, no audio for it tonight. It just didn't get posted yet, but we can talk about that in a minute. But I think this was a match that really, as the game ticked on, I was nervous. Because I just had the feeling that, all right, we've had 2 pretty solid games for FC Dallas. This is probably going to be one that it gets out of hand a little bit. And we're going to be, it's going to be one of those early season things where you go, all right, just let it go. But really, that didn't happen. Really, FC Dallas came to play. One of the most organized performances. A lot of just staying connected, not letting LAFC get too much open space to run behind. Certainly some mistakes, some turnovers that probably should have been punished, you could argue. But FC Dallas, over the course of 90 minutes, made a case that they should have gotten something out of this match. Colin, we'll start with you. I just want your thoughts, especially, this is what I asked Coach Quill. I just said, Valiente had his debut. Luis Valiente had his first start. Luis has his debut, but you also had a game where FC Dallas outshot, had more corner kicks than the home team. And that's some positive stuff that we haven't seen a lot of for this team. So give me your sense as you watch the match. Disappointing 1-0 loss, but a strong performance from FC Dallas.
Yeah, it was one of those where when the game was going on, I actually was not able to watch it. Me and my guys got together. We went to the casino and had some fun that night. But I kept stepping away from the poker table, looking at my phone, and I kept seeing 0-0, 0-0. My phone would blow up, and it'd be like the Twitter group chat, whatever. And but rewatching it, obviously with the 12-hour car ride, got to rewatch the whole match, start to end. And it was a game where the possession doesn't show up, but we held really good spells of possession. We were able to break down LAFC really well, and we had honestly some amazing chances. Lloris, I've been saying this for ever since he got to MLS, and it's how he was at Tottenham. Like he'd have 2 or 3 games of really, really well saves, very, very good, and then 3 games with like this guy is France's number one goalkeeper. This guy is a starter. This guy is this, and Lloris was on his night that night. And to be honest, if it wasn't for Lloris, I don't see how we don't put 2 or 3 in the back of the net. Um, 2 of our shots, one of them was a good reach for him. Another one was just a quick snapshot that almost went through his legs. And like you said, I mean, Dallas did really well with going into LA, handling the pressure. Like you said, they outshot them. I think it was 15-8 with the same amount of shots on target. We outperformed them in expected goals. It was like a 1.3 to like a .9 or something like that. 2 big chances missed. The passing difference was there. That comes with possession, obviously being on the road. And we had corners were 7-4. So it's one of those things where like we did really, really well. We did exceptionally well. Unfortunately, we should have got a draw, but I mean, at the least, but Martinez had that amazing shot that Clody got a fingertip on, and it pushed into the side netting. So it's one of those things where, a few inches here and there, or a different angle, or it's could be. It sounds like cope, but it could be 0-0. But it looks a lot better. It's one of those things where Farrington, I think, was a little bit off his game. He had those chances, but off the ball he looked a little lost almost until it was like in the box. Obviously in the box he's fine, but trying to get built up in the build up and trying to get involved, it seemed a little off. Valiente looks really, really good. Something I like about him playing as like that attacking midfielder role is he's not just sitting here trying to get into the pockets underneath, play super deep, like we've had our playmakers in the past couple years, like Ricarte, which he was more of an 8 than a 10, but we tried to play him as a 10. As Jesus, when we transitioned him from the 9 to the 10 to playing right back at some instances. I mean, Valiente is making runs in behind. Valiente is willing to, yes, I'll play make, but yes, I'm going to get in behind and try to score too. Or be that outlet pass, out wide to pass in. And that's something that Dallas hasn't had since Mar Diaz. And it's one of those things, last time we had someone like Mar Diaz, we supported Shield, Open Cup, challenged for playoffs. And that's something that Dallas has been missing ever since he left funny enough, for Saudi before it blew up and got that massive payday. So it's one of those things where, looking at the game, Dallas, probably our best performance in LA in years. Again, following up last year's amazing road performances, it's one of those things where, we're one shot away from still being an undefeated team in the league, which if you're telling me we have 5 points of the first 3 games playing Nashville and LA as 2 of those games, I'd take them and run. Even 4 points, I'd take it and run, which is what we have. And that sets us up pretty well. I think we're, 9th in the West, which isn't great right now, but for the opening schedule we've had, 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss, it's not bad. And it's, again, 1 shot from having 5 points, which puts up a couple spots. And we kind of needed it because after this weekend, we play San Diego. We'll talk about that later, obviously. But after that, it's kind of weaker teams. When you look at the West, or at least from their standards, you got Houston at home, DC on the road, which they've looked pretty good, honestly. 2 losses and a win, but there's 1 loss, but not bad. And then St. Louis at home, Galaxy at home. It's one of those things where if we got past these first 3 games, it's going to be upward climbing, in my opinion, if we looked well, and we looked exceptional. So it's one of those things where I'm excited for sure after this performance.
I love this comment here from our buddy Luke here. We look much better tight spaces this season, and I don't even think we've seen the best of Valiente yet. We can talk a little bit more about him later, but yeah, I mean, we're still lacking that one spectacular moment. I mean, that's what LAFC had. I think that's what we agree. They had that Martinez blast that just, you give us a little sliver of space to a special player. But other than that, I mean, so I understand. Let's not worry too much about Musa. I know he's going up to the Croatian national team call-up. But, yeah, I mean, and here's another good thing, Jose, I'd like your comment on. When was the last time we had more corners than an opposing team? I mean, there were some games last season we had 0 corners, which is just it's almost hard to do as a soccer team. I don't know how we were that unlucky. It feels like, we had more on Saturday night than some of our seasons. Jose, what were your thoughts about, that kind of stat and this performance from FC Dallas?
Forget the stats, man. The eye test says FC Dallas outplayed LAFC. LAFC right now, the fans, they know they got, that home bounce. That game's played anywhere else. That's a FCD win. They were doing so many good things. I mean, Kamungo looked his best. He's looked on the right side. A lot of people are surprised. I'm not surprised. He made his name initially playing on the right side. So it's just a matter of transitioning to his new position. We may have found a spot for him. And honestly, FC Dallas we're out hustling those guys. I honestly thought that LAFC was getting out hustled by the road team. And frankly, frustrating that we had to take the loss. But like I said, home teams, sometimes they get that lucky bounce. You're supposed to, as a home team, pull out wins when you don't play as well against visiting teams. What excited me was the fact that the entire team looked good. We might criticize something here and there, but in all honesty, that's the best team performance in a loss I've seen in a long time. It makes me very excited about this team going forward. It's just, I think you saw what Quill has been promising. You saw a bunch of dogs out there, going after the ball, going after those players, and really making LAFC sweat. I can't think of his 99. Can't pronounce his name.
Boanga.
Buanga.
Longer, yeah.
He had a quiet night. And that's not something I would have envisioned at all. Especially if you tell me that you have, Kamungo, who has had us screaming, bench that guy, placed on him, and then, I guess that's why I'm not a manager. But yes, I'm very excited about the overall performance. I think everybody balled. And I'm hopeful that this is not just a flash in the pan. I think this excites everybody that this team is still growing, still getting better, and probably hasn't hit that, fifth gear just yet. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. Yeah, again, I mentioned Valiente with his first start, which was, maybe not quite expected. I mean, we knew it was coming. I mentioned kind of, but this was the kind of game, I think last week I mentioned this is kind of a game that might make sense for Quill to experiment a little bit, just because expectations could be a little bit low. But I love that he stuck to his guns, but then also, turned to Valiente, who just did not look out of place. Still looks like he needs some time to gel with the team, to get rhythm, get some of those sequences. But I like this signing so far. This question is still, do we have that really special player who can create something out of nothing in a game like this? Not yet, but we'll see. I mean, just a lot to like. I thought Herman Johansson had his best game in an FC Dallas kit so far. Ricky Lewis got his debut. Not so super effective, but it's a rookie. You asked him to just come out there, run, and create something, and he looked like a rookie. But I thought Bernie Kamungo was a lot better in this one. Really, just Michael Collodi was huge. I mean, just coming up with some really crucial saves. Just love the guy. We are not skipping a beat without pause out. So there's just so much to be bullish about, to be optimistic about for this team, knowing that we haven't seen the best yet, and there might still be some tinkering to come as far as getting the right set of guys on the field that can sort of collaborate and make this thing flow. Wow, it was one of those things. You felt that there was an equalizer potentially coming. In fact, Quill said that after the match. He said, I didn't want the game to end. I felt like we had an equalizer coming. And I had to agree with them. I think so. There are definitely positives there for FC Dallas to build upon going and getting ready to welcome San Diego FC to town, which is going to be a big matchup for them, which we can talk about in a bit. So overall, you guys think Valiente starting from here on out until they need to rotate him or whatever?
I think he'll be rotating in and out until he finds his full fitness. I don't think Quill's gonna try to run him into the ground this early. I think the team likes what they see from him, and if he starts every match, that's fine. But I could see him basically rotating in and out, until he gets full fitness.
Same here. I think he'll rotate in and out with Delgado. And I think, it'll be a Delgado rotation. Maybe we'll see a Benjamin. I feel like we're not seeing Benjamin as much as we should be compared to what everyone at the club was saying when they signed him and the expectations for him. So it might be one of those things where I know he's more of an 8, but he also can create from his youth background. So it's one of those things maybe, in a pinch, something happens to Delgado or Valiente just can't find that full fitness for a while. We might see him as a playmaking 8 more than a sitting back 8, like Kayake or even Kayake's being able to go forward now, thankfully, but like more like a Ramiro or that type of player. So
I'm actually excited at the potential of in the future at some point seeing Valiente, Benjamin, and Kaik all three in the midfield, because those guys are all energy. That would be like an all energy, go out there and just create havoc. I'm not sure it would work, but it would certainly be entertaining in a maddening way to watch. So, Leagues Cup, baby.
Yeah.
yes.
Right. There'll be opportunities ahead there'll be enough minutes to go around for the squad. And I think even these first couple of games, we're seeing some of the substitution patterns. I think that's another piece of the puzzle for Quill to kind of figure out, like, who do I go to to lock things down? Who do I go to get that extra push? And the little tweak we saw in this one too was Johansson and Kamungo, flipped on those wingback positions, and Kamungo just looked a lot more comfortable.
Speaking of substitutions, I was stunned that Urugide was subbed out, and you're chasing the game, and your two CBs are more in Ibiaga, and
Ibiaga,
yeah, and it's like, that I guess that shows you how much confidence Quill has in those guys.
Yeah,
we may knock on Ibiaga left and right, and sometimes question more from time to time, but this is Quill saying, "Hey, I fully trust these guys. This game's on the line. We're chasing the game. I'm going to risk Urugide. I think these guys can handle it," and they did. So I was stunned by that, but they I think that they held their own.
I'll say I saw down by the locker room, saw him walk by, and Ibiaga and I love his salt and pepper. He's got the sort of salt and pepper beard look going on right now. He looks like that's great. It's like and I do think that's the truth. As much as fans, we can kind of fuss about things like Quill trusts him and trust his veteran presence back there to kind of help anchor that defense, especially when Osaze goes and does Osaze things. So. Still makes me think, though, every time I see Tafari out there, think, oh man, that would have been a fun tandem. But hey, enough of that lament. Yeah.
On Ramiro, in the lineup, let's say I was pleasantly surprised. Sorry, I can't speak today. Ramiro is in the speed merchant, and you get worried when you play a team like LAFC that has a ton of speed. It wasn't an issue, his positioning, his decision making is top notch, and sure, maybe he's a little long in the legs and not as fast as we'd like him to be, but at no point was he a liability out there. He put in a very professional performance against a team that should have been able to exploit a player, an older, slower player, and they couldn't because, like I said, he's just a complete professional out there. I was very impressed with him against a team like LAFC.
So just to give you, being there at BMO Stadium, it was a fun trip. Actually, my wife and kids decided to come along, even though I was in the press box the whole time. I convinced them to wear FC Dallas shirts, and the LAFC supporters gave them a nice boo. I think my daughter was a little nervous, but I'm like, they're all right. They're having a good time. They were all tailgating and stuff. What was so interesting about the crowd, though, a good team, and they have a good fan base, but lots of casuals. And so the Korean community coming out to support Sun Heung-min, they're probably selling 10 different shirt jersey options for Sun Heung-min, and of course, $60 for a T-shirt. My wife was thinking about it. She was like, no, that's not fitting the budget right now for a T-shirt, But anytime Sun Heung-min touched the ball, of course, the crowd erupts. Otherwise, you wouldn't even know. I mean, that it was, that there were that many LAFC fans compared to the few FC Dallas fans that were in the house. I mean, it was just a funny thing. So that's why we sometimes wish fans, wish FC Dallas was as big as Inter Miami, LAFC, but just know a lot of casuals get mixed in there too, and they're just there to get their kind of celebrity, do their celebrity thing and celebrate their guy, which is fine, which is good. It's a big enough sport for all that. But I think that aided FC Dallas a little bit. The crowd was just a little tepid on the night, is what I would say.
I'm glad you mentioned Sun Heung-min because, the only time he really did anything was, when he got that yellow. Another player that I'm stunned FC Dallas was able to really keep quiet for most of the game. I mean, the two players that I was most worried about had very little impact on this match, and I couldn't be happier than that.
Yeah, I probably did. I know FC Dallas crowds can be a little mid sometimes, I guess you could say, the energy. But yeah. And I wondered if maybe they didn't want the guys to go so hard, or because he picked up the ball in a couple of spots that were really dangerous and just didn't do a thing with them. Collodi, and maybe he's dealing with a little bit of a knock. Maybe they're trying to watch his minute, rest him a little bit. I don't know, but it was,
or maybe LAFC just
yeah,
they didn't do it. He didn't have anything like that, and FCD just shut him down.
That's right.
I prefer that option. I would say
he got beat up in Houston pretty bad. I don't know if y'all saw. There was a video going around. Back of his ankles were all bloodied and bruised and everything. He had ice on both feet walking around in socks, so he could be injured. But also, Sun had the least amount of touches on the whole field. And this is, an LAFC team where they got Segura, who mostly played center back for them, playing left back, and Palencia, who's not an attacking right back, playing more as like a defensive wing back. Like these are, 37 touches of the ball in 90 minutes. It's a touch every 3 minutes, which for a player of Sun's quality, even if he's playing top of the top, in Champions League games and stuff where you have people maybe better than him on the field, and he's not the main star, him getting more touches than that in a full 90 minutes. So the fact, I think it's more Jose said, it's more Dallas had a really good plan for him, and it was mostly because, yes, they'd let him get into that space, like on top of the D or a little bit out wide on the left where he likes to play, but they wouldn't let him progress or find an outlet pass, and they wouldn't let him dribble past. And that's something that a lot of teams try to do. They try to give him a little bit of that space, and no, we were up there man marking like, all right, see where if you can get some space. Ramiro did a really good job of that. Kappas, when he needed to, did a good job of that. Urguide, whenever he'd have to run up to the top of the beat, did he to stop it and then sag back with Shaq or AB to take over, depending on the side he went to. It's one of those things that the defensive unit, look at Nashville. We thought that was the best time they played, or the best way they played all season in a long time, and they followed it up with another amazing performance. And it's one of those things where, Nashville just had to worry really about Hani Mukhtar, which ghost, and then Espinoza, which, Bernie had a hard time at first, but then got into the rhythm of it, and Nibiaga was able to help him out and bail him out a couple of times. But this game, it was more of a whole unit, and I agree, the switching over Bernie to the right, Bernie on the right is where he excelled. I mean, look at his Leagues Cup run. When he blew up, he was playing right winger. He wasn't playing on the left. He was playing on the right, so he can cut it on his left foot, which, helps a lot better when he's playing an attacking role. So it's one of those things with this wingback position. A lot of players in MLS too play on the left. A lot of your best players are left wingers or left attacking, or their midfielders where they want to go to the left and then cut in on the right foot. So it's one of those things where if Bernie's going to be your pace merchant, pace for pace, step for step type of defender. He's going to be trying to shove him off the ball or at least just cause him a nuisance. He's going to be that guy that's going to be on, most likely on the right and a little bit better than that. Um, it's just one of those things, something that we haven't talked about yet, and I'm going to kind of lead into it here if we have time for it, is, Johansson looked better on the right than the left, in my opinion. Is it worth keeping Johansson on the left and him not looking as good as he does on the right for Bernie to excel on the right? And I'll give my answer too. I think it is, and the reason why is Johansson. Meanwhile, he does play most on the right. He played on the left a lot in Sweden, and some of his highlights that you can find on YouTube and everything, and him playing well in the Swedish national team, he played on the left too. So it's one of those things where I think Bernie on the right, if he's going to be going forward, and that overlap with Shaq is going to happen a lot more, like we saw, where Shaq might be the crosser and Bernie's more the cut inside, lay it off to Valiente, because Valiente played more on the right as the right-sided 8. So those things where maybe Kamungo gives it to Valiente and he's the one running it behind, or he gives it to Valiente and Valiente finds him, or he plays it short and then tries to find space. I think Bernie on the right, and it's like I said all last season throughout the shows. It seems like one week Bernie has an absolute stinker. We get onto him, and then he goes and balls out and has the best game of the season. So it's one of those things where if he can sit here and do this week in, week out on the right, let him go. Because I don't know anyone else really who's going to be able to play wingback on our roster as good as Bernie. And as much as that hurts to say, I doubt there's really anyone better that can play at least with the defensive work rate that we need when we're playing defensively with the wingbacks.
At least not one that's healthy at least.
Yeah, Gio, if he's healthy, maybe, but not right now.
Yeah. Exactly. If he's healthy and 100%, I mean, right now, no, that's a long ways away. But hey, no, I agree with you. And Johansson, I mean, he's still finding his way. Still learning his teammates. And if you're gonna make that switch, play him on the left side, do it now, while he's still figuring out who's who and what's what. Because I actually thought he had a pretty solid game. In all honesty, I like what I see from him. I mean, I like the little things he does that maybe don't show up on the stat line, and I think once he settles in, we'll see even more of what he has to offer. And Kamungo on the right, I was very excited to see him there. He looked very comfortable. And after this game, I don't see why they would switch him back unless Quill's basically going to match him up with the fastest guy, whether he's on the right or the left, and we should just get used to him switching sides.
I was able to speak with Herman Johansson after the game. Get to get some audio. We'll be posting that a little bit later. It was in a noisy spot, so it's kind of hard to hear. But just asking about his acclimation, and he acknowledged that Major League Soccer is different. It's a little different kind of football. When someone says that a professional coming from another league, you kind of think, is it a little insulting, or is it just or what? But I think he's gotten introduced quickly that this league is going to push him in some different ways than what he's used to. It was interesting. He was being interviewed by Swedish radio, and as they're really following World Cup developments, and whether he's on the big list of the Swedish national team, and it's just a matter of can his form continue, get steady, and so he makes that case to get that final spot. But imposing guy, nice guy. It was good to chat with him. Glad he took a few minutes there. Let's go ahead and shift over to North Texas 3, Rapids 2-1. A homecoming home match of the season for North Texas SC. They welcome Rapids 2, and certainly I think we can say from this match, not the perfect match. I don't think we've seen the best of North Texas yet, but they dominated. I mean, they won. Certain things they're going to improve on. They're going to get better at. But Edouard Nys with the hat trick makes it 4 so far on the season. Gosh, what a pace that is. An exciting time for this club as they build going forward. And this is another one where it was just fun to watch. And Rapids, too, had their spells of possession. They had times that they actually had quite a bit of the ball. but just couldn't do a lot with it. And then when they did make that turnover, when they just faced the press a bit, it was done. I mean, Nice's lethality just incredible. So, Jose, we'll start with you on this and just your thoughts from this big win for North Texas.
Well, I'm pretty satisfied. I said it would be a big win by North Texas. Slightly disappointed with that they allowed the goal because I did say it would be 4-0, 3-0. And it was a set piece. That's going to happen. But overall, I mean, it was a fun match to watch. I think my surprise was seeing Swan ahead of Garcia. But I've been hearing that it may be that Swan is ahead of Garcia for some reason. So I think you'll see them rotate in North Texas a lot. But anyway, from what I saw from this team, I forget the goalkeeper that started. He looked excellent back there.
Aiden Jordan.
Jordan looked really good. 8 saves on the night. I mean, he was active. Just the team looked really, really good at home. You think this team still has another gear to go, even though they won 3-1. You can see where this team can still get better. This is just early season, and I think we should be excited about this team. And here you go. You got Nys, who's looking like that next, North Texas guy that is going to force FCD to give him a look. And that's what you want. You want those players that are going to say, hey, maybe I'm not in your plans, but I'm going to force you to look at me and see, hey, can this guy help us? And right now, I mean, he's flying. I love it. I'm tuning just to watch him play. Even though the other attackers around him are also looking quite good.
Yeah,
he's just the standout of what looks to be a really solid attack this season.
And this one could have been 5-1. I mean, that's something Gall said after the match. We could have had a fourth goal, a fifth goal. It just, the ball got a little out under the feet of guys like Simmons and stuff. And some of those opportunities late and stuff.
There was a couple. Yeah, they were just inches from a tap in or something like that. It was like I said, very fun to watch.
Colin, your thoughts?
I mean, I think someone that we're not talking about, Contreras, man, he had an amazing game in my opinion. Mostly playing on like that right wing back style, playing more of like correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't see the lineup graphic, but we're trying to copy most likely FCD tactics. Mostly it's a 4. It's a 5 at the back. This looks more like a 4-3-3. With James out on the left, Simmons on the right, and Nys playing more in the middle. If anything, a little underneath as like a center forward role. But Contreras looked amazing in my opinion. I mean, he picked up a yellow card, sure, for just a dumb challenge, but that's gonna happen next pro. But I mean, two assists, I believe, for Nys's goals. And he looked to be in the right spots in the right time on both sides of the ball, both in the attack when needed and on the defense. He's someone that I would 100% like to see keep improving for sure. And Nys, like I said last week, I just think the kid's special. That's going to be my Glaze Player of the Year is what I'm going to call it, because this kid looks incredible. He's in the right spots at the right times. His finishes are like those perfect finishes where it barely goes past the goalkeeper, but it's right in the corner. He knows how to pick out the corner. He knows how to find the space, and let's not forget the kid's playmaking ability too. He made that amazing chance for Simmons where he got out from underneath him. So it's one of those things where Nys is one of those players, like Jose said, he's gonna be one of those players like, hey, look at me, like Sarver was last year. Sarver, when we got drafted, I mean, people were like, okay, cool, draft pick, and he first started going off for North Texas, like, okay, well, he was all right. And just look at the energy he would bring for FC Dallas when he played for him last season, riding that wave and riding that good run of form. I think Nys is one of those players where maybe in the summer, if we lose a couple players for World Cup, or if we sell a couple players just to make room for other players we're bringing in, or vice versa, he might be one of those players like Sarver where, hey, we need someone to come on in and run the midfield for us, boss. And it might be one of those things where he gets some valuable minutes in games we're chasing, or might even start. I mean, this kid I think he's older, obviously. He went through college and the draft, he's like 21, 22. But he's one of those players where, I mean, I could see him at 23, 24 in a couple of years making a fighting chance to start in MLS, most likely probably not as a 10, just because are tend to be your, your DPs and your really high caliber players. But if he can get on this trajectory and keep going up and getting better, I can see him being that attacking 8 piece we need, or even playing out wide. He looked great last game. We played more as like a wide striker coming in too. This kid can play everywhere, it looks like, and I'm super excited to see how it develops.
I'm glad you mentioned that because a young player like that looking to gain minutes has to have the flexibility to play multiple positions, and I'm glad you brought that up. I agree.
We have the couple of little nuggets just to follow up from the post game in the comments from Coach Gall. Coach Gall did mention that when Nys was drafted, they had to approach him about North Texas and just kind of make the case, because I guess he had some other opportunities, and that maybe that's either abroad or maybe we've seen a few of these next pro or these draft picks go elsewhere in next pro, or figure out another place to land. We've seen that recently, so he was able to buy in, and I think even seeing what Valiente has brought, and now seeing what Nys has brought, you're like, and what Sam Sarver was able to do, it's like there is a pathway here. FC Dallas would love to have a great backup attacking midfielder, or even a guy who can start, come through next pro. I mean, that just saves so many questions for this club. And the thing about Nys too, that they interviewed him after the match, and one of the interesting little nuggets that just made me go do a little double take is one of the things that Nys talks about that he loves about the team is their togetherness, and that they do a lot together, they spend a lot of time together, and they go to church together. So they have chapel before games, and he says almost the whole team shows up. So perhaps a little touch of the divine, the presence of God is in some of those. Adding a little bit of extra weight and hope and joy and love and all that stuff to this team. That was exciting. Really good stuff. Other little note, Enzo Newman returned in this one, first time after an ACL tear, so it's good to see him back on the field. This roster, I think, there's going to be a lot of competition, a lot of minutes to spread around, but these kids are going to have to really push to lock down spots and take advantage when you have guys like Giovan Jesus and Enzo Newman and Augusto Alvaro and others who are going to want to get some minutes under their belt this season. So that just gives John Gall a bunch of good problems to deal with as they build forward. All right, well, let's start to wind down the show a little bit. Let's start with our match predictions. Actually, let's do North Texas first. North Texas will travel down and play Austin FC 2 on Sunday. I was starting to look and I got sidetracked. I don't even know what Austin.
I'll go first.
All right, what's Austin FC's record right now?
So Austin FC is playing their third match at home. They have no wins. They have a loss and a draw. And this team is very much the same team from last year that just missed the playoffs. They were basically a 500 squad. And they've brought everybody back. I mean, their biggest addition is their new manager, who was, I think he was their U16 coach. I may be wrong, but I think he's U16 coach. And this team looks like a team that is trying to find who they are. Their first match, they got just destroyed by Minnesota United, who were up 3-0 at halftime and won 4-2. And you could argue that even though they outscored Minnesota United, 2-1 in the second half, they only did it because Minnesota United took their foot off the gas. They were up 4-1 at one point. So Austin FC then came back the following game and ran out to a 2-0 lead. I forgot who they were playing, but they were up 2-0 at halftime and then just completely collapsed in the second half. I think it was Ventura County, and collapsed in the second half and had to settle for 1 point at home because they lost a shootout. just a team that looks out of sorts, looks like they're trying to figure out what they're doing. It's pretty much the same team as last year, and a team that is bleeding goals. I mean, 6 goals in 2 matches at home. North Texas should feast. I would not be surprised if it's a high scoring 4-2 type game. Uh, this is a very, very winnable match for North Texas on the road, simply because Austin FC just looks out of sort. They just they had 2 different. They had to rotate players for the second match because they had looked so bad in the first match. It's a manager trying to figure out what he's got, and they will probably be a better team towards at some point in the season. But right now they're out of sorts and just there for the picking. And my prediction is 4-2 North Texas.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with Jose. It's one of those things where, I mean, this is an Austin team that, like we kind of said, they kept a lot of players, but the only good player they have is Alice Tuese, whatever, the Spanish kid.
Yeah,
That's
the Spanish kid.
really all they have. Yeah, all they have is that kid. It's one of those things. If you lock him down, you're fine. And that's exactly what Ventura County did in the second half. They did that, and they were just lost. This is a coach also starting your tall striker and Micah Burton out on the wing in the first game, and then benching him in the second game because he had a bad game on the wing. It's a mixture of the coach trying to figure out what he has and trying to figure out what he wants to do and how he wants to play. Well, obviously your second team, you want to try to play as close as you can to the first team to try and develop those players for the first team. But it's one of those things where sometimes you have to, ditch it. I mean, look at what happened with North Texas last year and the year before that. We had to ditch what the first team was doing, and look at the success it brought. Last year a little bit different, but the year before that, I mean, we won a championship, we were doing our own thing. So it's one of those things where uh, thankfully for us, we play Austin early. The coach, I just feel like he doesn't know what he's doing. This is a team I also watching some Nortec like USL or sorry MLS Next Pro highlights, trying to get more into the league and trying to understand it more and see which talent is in MLS Next Pro. And I look at Austin's team, and the only highlights I see on that team is obviously the Spanish kid, but then also you have like a goalkeeper that first game he was really good for them last season. I think his name was Alata or
Yeah, I think that's correct.
it's Lata or Farr or whatever. But Lata did really well last game. Had one bad game, and then you're benching him for this English kid they brought in, Farr or whatever. It's just really consistent. We'll see how it goes. I think it's going to be a high scoring affair. I think it's going to be like a 4-1 for North Texas or a 3-1. I don't think Austin FC, they take a lot of shots, but a lot of the shots are like outside the box, 20-yard plus, like long shots. And it's one of those things where with Slade Starnes and our bigger Sigonets and Big R in front of them, they're like 6'2" plus. They're going to block a lot of those shots and just not really have to trouble the goalkeeper. I think North Texas should and will take care of this Austin team very fairly easy.
Yeah, I just wanted to add. I'm glad you brought up Cooper, but their attack is just one guy. They'll do a lot of shots, but there's not much behind them. They only really have one player, and they played him as a center forward in the first match, and then they moved him out to the wing the second match. So even he's being moved around. So yeah, this attack is basically, it reminds me of North Texas last year without Sarver.
Yeah. Trying to figure out who can plug and play and where. Because I think he finished the game. If you look at the highlights, he finished the game as like an 8, like a center mid in that 4-3-3. Yes. So he started on the wing and then he finished as an 8. So it's just like the kid can play anywhere. Don't get me wrong. He looks great everywhere he played. But man, like you got to figure out where he's going to play and figure out where he's going to go, because that's your best player on the team. He's your captain and everything. He's your number 10. You're treating him like he's the star player of the team. Figure out where he goes and then build around him would be my game plan. But I don't coach, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and just I chose 4-2, but Austin FC, they may put up a fight for a portion of the game, and it may be that in the second half it's all North Texas, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm happy with a 2-0. I just think North Texas get it done. stay tight in the back, keep building, kind of balancing out everything. I'm happy with that. But you're right. I think this could be the way North Texas is looking. And by the way, I think this is the other point I kind of wanted to make about North Texas is, they draw, and I know it's the first game of the season, so neither team is going to be polished yet, but you get a 2-2 draw at Real Monarchs. What do Real Monarchs go do? They go to Sporting Kansas City 2 and crush them 5-0.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, that's like, hey, there's North Texas. We're hanging with some good teams, and the Real Monarchs are a good team. So some good, intriguing data points there to consider. And yeah, shout out to you, Chris. Yeah, you're right. Why am I not wearing? I could have grabbed my Annapolis jersey. So yeah, gosh, I got to get an Orange County one or something here pretty soon. Let's do the last round of predictions here. Let me pull it back up. God, we got the wrong. There we go. FC Dallas. That's versus San Diego FC. San Diego's coming into town, of course. Really good team as well. What's intriguing to me about San Diego is I don't think they went out and radically improved the team over the offseason. I mean, they have a really good team already from last year, though. Well constructed. Varas was a great coach. Kind of think, wow, why didn't FC Dallas get him? But what he's doing there is great. They're a dangerous team, but this is an opportunity to be at home, having some positives to build on, that confidence to build on. You got to lock it down. You got to get the win here. So I'm going to go a 3-1. I think we see that continued improvement. I do think San Diego gets a goal to make things interesting, but I think FC Dallas is going to get a big home win. What do you guys think?
I agree. I think San Diego plays Toluca midweek, literally on Wednesday. Granted, they're at home, but they're playing Toluca midweek. They just came off a game in Kansas City where they struggled to put the ball in the net. They came off a game before that at home against St. Louis City and struggled to put the ball in the net. They scored 2, but my God, they could not get a shot on target. That was a good shot to save their life. This is a team that the attack has gotten way worse. Chuka Lozano's sitting out for whatever reason. I think it's
That's
something
right, yeah.
with coach and all that stuff. They don't have a true striker. Their striker is in Varkston if they play him there, and he's like that 8. He's kind of like Krylock for RSL, who played more of an 8, and then they kind of just threw him at striker, and it worked for a little bit. They did that last year, and it messed them up. I'm sure wishing they kept Ilioski instead of letting him go to Philly because he still looks good on Philly, and they need a striker, and he went off for San Diego. But it's one of those things. I mean, San Diego, to me, like, my two teams I'm looking at, they're undefeated right now, are San Jose and San Diego, and they both look fraudulent to me. What I mean by that is San Jose more fraudulent than most. Werner's bailing them out with good assists on their last 2 games to win 1-0. But here for San Diego, you have a decent defense. You got rid of Patty McNair and your other center back, and you're going with this Dua kid who's insane. And you're walking Cisanega, who was not great that last year, but they started the other kid last week, and he did all right against Kansas City. But it's also Kansas City. Not too shocked that they won there. But it's just one of those things where, like, for me, Dallas is playing so well right now. The defensive unit is really well. If they keep doing what they're doing, where they isolate Dreyer like they did to Mukhtar, who did nothing, like they did to Sun, who did nothing, if they run that same thing with Dreyer, that offense for San Diego is going to do absolutely nothing. And it's one of those things where, funny enough, my boss at GameStop, my district manager, he's from San Diego, so I gave him my tickets for the game Saturday since I won't be there. And he's talking all this trash so far, and I'm like, just wait till we win 2-0 this weekend, and then you'll owe me some money for the tickets, just messing with them. But I think Dallas gets the job done. I think it's going to be 2-0 win. I think it's going to be a Musa goal. I think he's going to take a kid of that. I think he's going to take advantage of that young center back. And then I think, you know what, I'm going to go with it. I'm going to say Valiente scores the second one. MLS isn't used to a DP10 who's going to run it behind and try to score on you. And I think it's just going to be one of those moments where if they're not ready for it, he can easily get a goal. And I think San Diego would be very fitting for him to get his first goal.
I'm glad that someone used the word fraudulent before me, because I was about to point out that even though San Diego is 3-0, has 8 goals, and has yet to allow a goal. They haven't played anybody. They've played the two worst teams in the West. And the other team they played, Montreal. Another bad team. They've had the softest schedule in MLS to start the season, and they feasted on it. I mean, and the fact that they're playing Toluca, mind you, currently the second place in Liga MX, means they can't afford to overlook Toluca. They have to go out, put their best lineup to try to make sure that they don't need to go to Toluca and win after the Dallas game. So make no mistake, I expect him to rotate against Dallas. I expect him to field a rotated squad. I don't know what level of rotation. I think the result in midweek will determine how much rotation it is, and I want to hope for that 3-1, 3-0 win, but I think it's going to be. I agree with Koob. It's going to be 2-0, possibly just a 1-0 win because that defense has been a rock for them. You know, in 5 meaningful matches, they've allowed basically 2 goals. So they've been rock solid. You know, and like I said, I agree with Koo. It's going to be 2-0, but I wouldn't be surprised if we got a 1-0 win, lopsided looking 1-0 win.
Good. Yeah, midweek action. That's right. And I've already forgotten about Lozano. I was like, FC Dallas, we have an open DP spot. So do we? No, we
keep
don't
him away, dude.
We don't.
I also want to add that even if FC Dallas gets a victory against San Diego, we're not likely to get any credit for it because everyone will simply say, you caught them. You know, they weren't worried about you guys, so they didn't. Either didn't put out their best lineup or whatever. There'll be excuses galore. So even though I agree with you guys, I expect FC Dallas to win at home. I don't think anybody's going to lift an eyebrow over it simply because of the fact that everyone will assume San Diego is focusing on CCL.
All right, well, we need to wrap the show up there. Appreciate everybody joining us with your comments, your questions, your emojis. A good show. A lot of ground to cover, and a lot more that we're learning about both of these teams, both North Texas and FC Dallas, as each week goes by. And of course, I'll be posting the podcast and audio at Afterburn Soccer, and we'll have some stuff about my little short little conversation with Herman Johansson. A little bit more audio here and there to share as we continue to unpack this team and look forward to what is coming. So, Jose, Colin, thank you. Next week, hopefully Chris will be back with us. Have a good night, guys, and everybody else. Dallas till we die. All right. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.